Welcome back to Coach's Corner Boys Basketball Edition. I'm Jake Lancer with Danny Lynch for HWTV, and today we're back with boys varsity head basketball coach David Rebibo. The Wolverines are currently in second place in the Mission League and are getting ready to make a late season push to dethrone rival Notre Dame. Coach, we wanted to start by congratulating you on your guys' blowout victory against rival Loyola last Friday. You told us last week that with more practice, you guys would look like a completely different team, and you were right. What was the key to winning that game?
There's obviously a sense of urgency right now. Season's winding down. We consider this phase two. We kind of break the season up into phases. Phase one, kind of the early part, November, December. We're trying to figure out who we are, what we are. And then phase two, as we get into league, non-leagues, in January is when we start to really gear up and say, hey, like we have an identity. We know who and what we are. And I think a little bit of that for us, having that 2-week break, we felt like we were on the verge of, hey, approaching phase two of where we need to be. And then we had that 2-week break, which kind of set us back. But in general, it's just time. The more time we have together, the more time we can practice, the more time we can continue to get on the same page, the more special we're going to see because it's a special group.
What do you think your team was able to accomplish against Loyola that they weren't against Notre Dame, and how will that come into play against the upcoming game against St. Francis?
Defensively, quarters 1 through 3.5, I guess, was kind of when they started to get going. Our defense was pretty good, and I thought our intensity and our level of focus was really good. But we've seen that consistency, and we're also seeing our guys get in shape where we're able to sustain, which is a big thing. Thought we did a really good job taking away easy catches for Loyola's top players. We did a really good job on the glass, and we kind of just smothered them defensively, which was big. And then the last part, 26 assists on 29 made field goals. We're not going to lose very many games when we share the ball like that. It's really special.
Now, looking at your team, a lot of your games have been blowout wins. What do you think your team's weakness is?
Good question. The reality of basketball is you have good nights, you have bad nights, right? Kind of like life. But hey, sometimes you can feel really good and have a bad shooting night. Sometimes the whistle blows, right? And you got 3 of your starters or 3, rotation guys in foul trouble. It's handling that adversity and adjusting. So I think for us, the willingness and the understanding that we were constantly having to adjust and adapt throughout the game is something that we're going to have to continue to work on and build on. We have played a lot of blowout games, and obviously we'd love to play some, we'd love to play some close games that come down to the wire where we have to make some decisions, and we've played a few. And we hoped, that Rancho Mirage was going to be that for us because there were some really good teams in that tournament, and we're kind of looking forward to that leading up in the league. And we obviously didn't get that, but we practice daily. We work on situations daily in practice, so those things will help us, and we'll continue to grow. But I think our biggest obstacle that we're going to face is how are we going to handle adversity when it hits us, because it's coming. And one of our mantras is we can't control the storm, but we can control how we handle it, right? And that's just preparing for that storm, and that's a big thing for us.
Again, looking on how great your team is doing this season, how do you think this team differs from any other team that you've coached?
The amount of talent we have is incredible, and it's variety of talent from seniors to juniors to sophomores to a freshman who's really coming into his own and contributing. So obviously that talent is great. And in order to be successful, you have to have talent. The main thing that I love is our chemistry. Our guys are so happy for each other, and our willingness to share the ball. I mean, this is probably the 7th or 8th time we've had over 20 assists in a game, and I think anytime we're sharing the ball, it's special. And this group really does, and is starting to really buy into it and defend and play at a high level, on top of being incredibly talented.
As we head into the final part of the season, how do you keep your guys focused on taking things one game at a time and not looking ahead?
Well, we set goals, and obviously we're chasing one of them still, and we've dealt with some adversity, and we're kind of battling through that. But I think that's left a sour taste in our mouth, losing that first week to Notre Dame. And so our guys are hungry, and they know what we're chasing now, and that's an open division berth. and an opportunity to compete with the best and seeding, and so we understand that it is the game of basketball. If Gonzaga can lose to somebody and have a close game with Tarleton or whoever else, we know the Wolverines can be in trouble against anybody else also. And so we have to continue to stay focused. We have to continue to get better. And I think our practices really do that. The amount of talent we have creates a really competitive environment in practice, which only continues to foster that hunger and growth that we're looking for.
What was the specific mindset going into the Loyola game? Was there something that you said in the locker room? Because it really felt like from the tip, you guys just had a different energy about you.
It was a week ago Friday that we lost our first home game, our only home game that we've lost, and our second loss of the season. And I think that still stung. I think our guys were hungry, and we know Loyola's a good team, and we were excited to compete. They've played some really good competition. They've played some really close games. They up until the Notre Dame game, they played Notre Dame really close. But up until that point, they had won a series of games, and we knew they were talented. So we were excited to compete, and I think we'll be the same tomorrow night against St. Francis, and Friday night against Crespi, and Saturday against Birmingham. So we're looking forward to it. How
do you think a big win like that against a rival sort of fuels this team going into the later part of the season?
I think any win where we're meeting our expectations and doing the things that we're asking our players to do is going to fuel us, because in order to build on success, you have to find success. And as we continue to do that, and our guys are successful doing the things that we ask them to do, it only breeds confidence and reassurance that it works. There's belief, and we're going to continue to do it and get better at it.
Do you think during practice that your team just plays game-like, and that's just plays into how well they played during their regular season games?
We've actually had to switch up things. Like typically in January, you're fine-tuning things. You're trying to save legs. You're not getting up and down as much. You're doing a little more drilling, a little more half-court, and getting up and down here and there in practices. We've had to shift that, and we had to shift that because of what just the last part of December was like to the early part of January, where we didn't get to practice and get together. So right now we are kind of managing that. So for example, on a Monday, we'll probably get up and down a lot more. And on Tuesday, we'll kind of start game prepping and building, just so that we are getting our conditioning, we're getting our prep, and we're kind of building ourselves up for that hopefully that postseason run.
For the viewers, can you kind of break down what's it going to take to win a Mission League title? Because obviously you're not in first place right now, but there is still a chance. So what has to happen to sort of win?
Well, we obviously have to win out, and we have to have Notre Dame drop a couple games. The Mission League is only playing each other one time this year, and they've canceled the postseason tournament, which obviously was a great function of the league and a great opportunity to kind of make that Cinderella run, so to speak. If you were a league team who's in 4th, 5th, or 6th place, well, you provide yourself an opportunity heading into the tournament to steal one of those automatic bids. But that's no longer something we're doing this year. So for us, really, the only thing that we can control is us. Obviously, Notre Dame would have to drop a few. Can that happen? Possibly. Will it happen? Who knows? But at the end of the day, we're still locked in, and we're still going to kind of do the things we need to do. And we also realize we weren't going to go undefeated this year, and that was never a goal. Facing adversity is a good thing, and if we had to face it in league and it cost us a league title, hey, well, okay. Hopefully that can lead to something greater.
Regardless of what Notre Dame does, are all of your goals still ahead of you besides that Mission League title?
Absolutely. We're still I still believe we're one of the top 8 teams in Southern California. There's no question in my mind. I think our record is indicative. I think how we're currently playing is indicative of that. And getting to the Open is a major goal, and then winning the Open.
Looking back on how you're talking about how any team can come to play any day, and looking at how your team has a lot of blowout wins, how do you mentally prepare them and focus for looking forward into playoffs, since those games will be much tighter?
Well, we still have St. Francis tomorrow night, who's a really good ball club. They've won, I think, 6 of their last 7 games, so they're playing really well. Crespi's a really good team. Then we play Birmingham, who's won 3 in a row, who's a really good city section team. And then the following week we'll play Chaminade, I believe, in a makeup game from a game that was canceled. And then we'll play Crean Lutheran, who's a really talented team with 2 7-footers, 6'6" wing, who's really good. So those games will prepare us and help us. And then from there, we may even look to add a game or two just to kind of make sure that we're not playing for 2 weeks heading into the postseason. Now, whether or not those games, who those games will be against will be tough because everything's kind of up in the air. And with league games being canceled, made up, everything is very fluid right now. So we're going to take it day by day, but we still think we've got a nice slew of games coming up that'll help prepare us and kind of keep us in line.
You guys take on a really talented St. Francis squad on Wednesday, and they'd like to play up-tempo and attack the paint. And how does having not one but 2 talented bigs give you the ability to sort of dominate a game like that?
Well, 2 talented bigs, but 2 versatile bigs who can guard multiple positions. That really helps. And with the emergence of Brady Dunlap, who's really guarding, and Cameron Thrower, who's getting back into shape and finding consistency, it poses a lot of problems. So we believe that those guys are the key to what we do defensively because of their versatility and their ability and their athleticism. So we're looking forward to that. A big key for us will be keeping St. Francis out of the key and kind of not giving up corner threes, which is something they thrive on.
You talked about the defensive side of the game. What's the biggest focus on the offensive side?
Simplicity, spacing, and timing. We want to get to spots. We want to stay spaced. We want to do things in accordance with how we're trying to work. And then the last thing is we want to find the open man. Our mantra has been and will always be the open man's the best player on the court. Period. Hit him, find him, get him the ball.
What is the most important thing that you think keeps your team composed while playing?
The fact that we work really hard. We work really hard. Our players work really hard individually. And they work really hard together. They are put in adverse situations that they have to come out and practice, disadvantaged situations that they have to come out of and practice. And I think knowing that they've done it, they can do it, and they can do it together is a very comforting thing. I think when we play as individuals, it becomes less comforting because now we're trying to ring in a guy while also compete against 5 others, which can be problematic. So. For us, I think it's just it's continuing to stay together and to handle each situation together. And the more we do that, the better we are, and the more we have found ourselves coming out of adverse situations. And we have played some good games. St. Anthony's is a good team playing really well, and they junked the game up pretty good against us and did a really good job. And we had a bad shooting night. Things weren't really going our way, but we found a way. And I think those moments are moments that we'll be able to lean on and kind of go back on and film and look at to kind of, improve certain situations of how can we get better when this doesn't work or when that doesn't work, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you so much for joining us on your 3rd Coach's Corner. Good luck to you guys versus St. Francis. I'm Danny Lynch with Jake Lancer. We'll see you next time. Enjoy the game.